I will show you how to vibe code like a pro. First, we will open a project. Let's name it just new project. Now we have to go here, right? Go run commands and then instructions. And here you can see chat, configure instructions. Let's say dev instructions, and now it created this instruction, and this one applies to everything, every code file in the project. But if you want to add like to JavaScript as an example, you have to add a start and then .js. For every JavaScript file, the instructions will be applied. When you use the GitHub Copilot agent, yeah, that's basically it. I have already generated my own instructions before, so what we need to do is that I'll just paste it here, and we can see which ones are the most important ones. But you can actually like just use everything that I have here without using the specific components library in my project or Tailwind. Let's start planning and structure. So what I did, I wanted it to actually check before when I like tell GitHub Copilot to create something for me. I wanted to check the project for existing components in my project or in my code base, and then it will hopefully reuse those components that I have in my project. So that's why I wrote here before creating a new component, search code base to see if a similar component already exists. Reuse components where possible to reduce duplication. Yeah, and this one only to have a consistent naming of the components inside my project. And directory structure is also very important. We don't have like so much code inside one directory or everything inside one directory, especially when the application is really big, so it makes it really annoying to see. I personally hate it, but yeah, some people don't. I don't really see how they can just live like that. Nesting components, like components that have children, and then we don't actually like add like a third child to another child and then to a child. It would also make the code a little bit hard to read, or it can cause bugs. But I never had to actually do this kind of thing. Only the layout, like the layout of the whole web page, it usually have children, but then you don't really need children inside components. You don't need so many children at least. Yeah, and this one for type safety. If you are using TypeScript, you wanna obviously type everything and use the correct types. Yeah, and I added a new instruction with it, which is called reuse types directory in the front end types. I wrote in the instructions that the types directory are in front-end types, and I also wrote to reuse and declare the types that are declared there. We have to have reusable components, so we don't redeclare everything like forms, input fields, and we avoid hard-coding values, and we use props to pass data and configuration. Hooks and context API are not very useful if your project is not really big, but you can read about hooks on the React documentation. And for the global state, if you wanna, like if the user is logged in, yeah, it would be helpful to have a global one, and you should have a global one. This one is really important, single responsibility. You should keep your component clean, and you shouldn't add so many responsibilities for each component. Like in the sign in, let's create just one sign in component and one sign up component by itself, and we use dry principle, don't repeat yourself. Error boundaries are really nice to have. When your component crashes, the page doesn't become blank, or you don't see the React error. You see a custom made error page that you design it however you want. Loading states are really nice. And for the user context, I already had an auth provider in my application, in my web app, to see if the user is logged in and to log out and to check the authentication. Adding to-do comments are really nice, so you can remember what's missing from your component. GitHub Copilot doesn't apply everything at the same time. Keep components decoupled from specific data fetching logic. Use hooks or context for data access. And if you're also using a server-side rendering like Next.js or similar ones, it's also nice to have this instruction. And the SEO is also very important. Search engine optimization. This one also, it doesn't really work because this one should be a prompt more than a instruction. And keep the component files or coding files, in my opinion, 300 lines, so the coding file doesn't look like 1000 lines of code. Let's test it out and see what happens. Let's first choose the agent and choose Cloud Sonnet 4. Okay. I will just show you that it has generated everything. As you can see, it has followed all the instructions. It used the login method from the use authentication, and you can see here, so the data fetching is outside, and everything else looks very good. I'm using ant design, and the red lines are because of I didn't install any dependency inside this project. I just wanted to showcase how it works. And yeah, at the start, everything looks good, but when the project gets bigger, sometimes it makes mistakes. So you have to always keep track of everything, and you have to check everything afterwards. But yeah, it generated everything, just like I said. It used Tailwind CSS, everything correctly. So yeah, that's how you become a professional vibe coder.